my name is Shannon, and I'm here with a 10-minute kind of wind down from the day practice. So welcome, and we're going to get started in child's pose. So make sure that you have a comfortable place where your knees are going to be supported, you've got enough cushion, and so child's, we can either stay up kind of high, or if it feels better, we can take our hips back a little bit further. Arms can reach out, or we can take our hands underneath our forehead. And we're just going to start to breathe here. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And with every breath, just nourishing the body and the mind, winding down, calming down from the day. Good. Now let's go ahead and take our arms and we're going to reach them out. If it feels okay, we can keep the fingertips connected and the palms are going to lift up, and we're just going to reach. So we're making this a little bit more of an active stretch. Reach, reach, reach. And then we're going to let our palms float down. Now let's take our arms back just a little bit so that while we have our hands connected, we're going to inhale. We're going to lift ourselves up into table. We're going to exhale. We're going to release into child's. We're going to inhale. We're going to lift up into table. Exhale, release into child's. And we've got two more just like that. We want our movement throughout this very short practice to be really slow. We want that breath nice and full. Now we're going to draw ourselves back up one more time. We're going to make sure that we've got that really nice placement. I'm going to take my hands back just a little bit, and we're going to go into cat-cow. So as we exhale, we're going to pull belly button towards the spine, chin drapes towards the chest, and we tuck the tailbone. Then we inhale, we let the belly release, shoulders down the back, sits bones spread, collarbones wide. Let's go through 3 more here. That movement just kind of undulating through the spine. Good, and then we're going to go into a little bit of a flow, putting those postures together. So what we're going to do is we're going to curl into cat. We're going to release back into our child's. We're going to drop the forearms. Maybe they reach the mat or maybe they stay up a little bit higher. And then we're going to draw that sternum forward as we bring ourselves back into that cow. So we curl into cat, release back into child's. Forearms to the earth, if available, and then lifting up into cow. We're going to do that 2 more times. Good, and then we're going to bring ourselves back up into table. Now we're going to come into child's, and from here we're going to take our hands and we're going to walk them over to the left. So we're stretching out the right side of the torso, right hip. We might even want to drop that right hip a little bit. Then we're going to bring ourselves back to center, walk the hands over to the opposite side. And again, if we want to intensify, just that little hip dip. Good, and then we're going to come back to center. Great, let's go ahead and draw ourselves up, and then we're going to release onto our back. So let's go ahead and just lower ourselves down. And if you want to have something underneath your head for additional kind of support, you can. A blanket, a towel, a head pad if that's something that you have. Now let's just first have our knees bent, release, relax the shoulders down. Let's bring a little bit of movement to the face to make sure it's released, relaxed. So kind of stretching out, and if it feels good, you can even massage your face a little bit, little circles by the temple, by the jaw. So just bring some nice releasing movement and then just settle in. Then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our right knee into our chest. And first, let's just clasp onto the hamstring and just notice. Now, if this is feeling pretty good, we can either stay here. If we want to make it more dynamic, we can inhale, we can start to straighten that leg. And your knee might stay really bent. This is a really big hamstring stretch. And then we can let that heel kind of release back down. So we're going to do that 3 more times. And again, if that doesn't feel available today, then just keep your knee into the chest. It should feel lovely on the low back. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to let that right foot release. And we're going to do that same thing with the left foot. So left knee draws in, and first we just hold on to the hamstring, draw it in, and maybe we stay here, or maybe we feel like we want to explore extending that leg. Again, knee might stay really bent, or it might feel really nice to make it a little bit more active. And then we release the heel down. We extend, and we release. Wherever we're at, we've got that nice full inhale, exhale. Good, and we should have 1 more for doing the dynamic movement. Good, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to let that foot release down. Let's take our arms into a T. We're going to widen our feet to the edges of the mat. We're going to start to do some knee drops. So we're going to take that right knee and we're going to drop it towards the middle of the mat. And then we're going to inhale and draw it up. And then we're going to take the left knee towards the middle of the mat. Inhale, draw it up. We've got 2 more each side. Starting to really address the hips, the hip flexors. And 1 more each side. We're going to go back to the side we started with, and we're going to hold it. Now, if this feels good, we can stay here. While the right knee drops, the left knee kind of drops. If we want to get more upper body stretch, we can take our arms and reach them overhead. The idea is that we're releasing tension, not introducing it. Nice full inhale, exhale. Good, let's bring our arms back into the T. And knees back through center, and then we're going to let that left knee drop towards the middle of the mat. We're going to hold it, and again, if we want to intensify this, the right knee can drop out to the side as well. If we want to open through that chest area, shoulder area, we can take the arms and reach them overhead. We're breathing. We're stretching. We're creating space. Good. And then we're just going to take our arms back into the T. Let's go ahead and bring the knees back to center. We're going to toe heel our feet. And then we're going to explore bringing the big toes and the heels to touch and to let then the knees splay open. Now, this might not feel available. We have a couple options. We can walk our feet away from the hips, a little less intense. We can have our feet not actually touching. We can use some support like blankets or blocks underneath the legs. Now, wherever you're at, if you have the ability to bring the bottoms of the feet together, if that's something that's comfortable to you, just for one time, go ahead and press those feet together. So you're going to activate and then release. And if your feet don't comfortably come together, absolutely fine. Arms can stay into a T, or you can bring them into cactus arms as long as that feels good and available for the entire arm, shoulder, There's no tightness tension. And we're going to take about 4 nice deep inhales, and especially the exhales. Let's try to elongate the exhalation. Good. And then depending on where your arms are, let's go ahead and take them into kind of an inverted V so that they're kind of angled down. We're going to bring our knees back to center. We're going to take the knees into the chest, and we're just going to let those knees rock side to side. And then we're going to come back to center, and then we're going to do our kind of rock forward and back. So we're going to draw the knees into the chest, flatten that low back, and then we're going to press the knees away. So we're rolling more onto the sacrum area. And then we're going to draw the knees in, and we're going to let those knees release away. And we've got 2 more. Good. Then we're going to go ahead and let our feet release down. Arms are going to come back into the T. We're going to take our left leg and we're going to extend it. We're going to draw the right knee in. We'll hold it for about a breath. If this feels like it's too much, you can always have the knee bent. And then we're going to take that right knee and we're going to start to take it across the midline of the body. This is where if we have this knee bent, we're going to have to walk that foot out a little bit so that we can then explore this spinal twist. We might go an inch or 2, or we might feel really comfortable letting that knee really drop to the opposite side. We want to keep both shoulders on the earth, and we've got about 1 more breath here. Good, and then we're going to bend that left knee. The right knee will float to meet the left knee. We'll come back into center. We're going to draw the left knee into the chest. Explore taking that right leg long. If that doesn't feel okay, then we can bend the knee a little bit. Eventually, though, that we're going to want to straighten the leg a little bit more so that we can start to take that knee across the midline of the body. Again, maybe it's an inch or 2. Maybe it feels okay to let that knee really drop over to the other side. Shoulders released, relaxed on the earth. And we're breathing. Good. And then we can go ahead and slowly roll back. We'll bend both knees, feet on the mat. We're going to do just a smidge of breath work, so we can either have the legs extended. If that's not comfortable, then you can have your knees bent, feet wide, and let the knees drop in. So let's take 4. Inhale, and then when you exhale, completely empty. So you're emptying the entire kind of capacity of the lungs. And after your 4 rounds of breath, we're going to stay here just for a couple more breaths. And if you can, when you focus on your exhalation, releasing any remaining tightness or tension. And then you can just stay here as long as feels available, helpful, comfortable. Thank you so much for being here. See you next time. Namaste.